The parent company of Restoration Hardware came out with a very rosy forecast, and look what happens when you do that. Your stock goes up by roughly 1/3. Big deal. Better sales at Dave & Buster's, and look what happens there. That stock is up, I think, about 13%. Yeah, 13.3% at 54 Dave & Buster's. More reaction from the Democrats on President Trump's summit with Kim Jong-un. Listen to what Senator Bob Menendez said just moments ago. Roll tape.
I have to be honest with you, this is the weakest statement I have ever seen come out of any engagement with North Korea, much less at the highest ranking of the President of the United States meeting with Kim Jong-un. It's amazing. I think that we have to even change the nature of Ronald Reagan's, trust but verify to, we have to verify what North Korea means before we could ever trust it.
All right, joining us now, Congressman Lee Zeldin, Republican from New York. Sir, you're on the Foreign Affairs Committee, I should say, in Congress. What do you make of Senator Menendez's statement there? He says it's the weakest statement he's seen.
Complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula is what Kim Jong-un put his pen to paper and signed off on. The Iran nuclear deal, we never even got a signature.
That's true.
To that respect, the president has already made further progress with North Korea in getting the leader that you're negotiating with to actually sign. But complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula and also putting pen to paper as far as peace on the Korean Peninsula, that's a pretty good step for a first meeting.
You mentioned the Iran nuke deal, which we're trying to walk away from, it looks like. The Iranians would surely have been looking at that summit, and they'll look at what Kim gets if he indeed gets rid of his nukes. They're looking closely at that deal.
That's right. And it's important for us to be learning our lessons of the past, because in the Iran nuclear deal, we agreed to a sunset provision that we shouldn't have. We agreed to a verification regime that has no United States weapons inspectors inspecting Iran. You didn't deal with any of Iran's other bad behaviors. Now, also learning lessons of our past relationship with North Korea. What did Bill Clinton do wrong in establishing the framework in the 90s? And when the strategy changed with President Bush and then changed again with President Obama, what lessons have we learned? And I think that for the president, having Secretary Pompeo with him, having Ambassador Bolton with them, learning lessons from North Korea, learning lessons for what we did wrong in Iran, I think it's been a great first step in what we've seen over the course of the last 12, 14, 28 hours.
The media is questioning this deal on, number one, there's nothing about verification. The words irreversible and verifiable were not in the agreement, so there's some criticism there. And there's also criticism that President Trump has shaken the hand of a man who is a vicious dictator. That's worthy of criticism. Where are you coming from on verification and shaking hands with a dictator?
The president gets criticized when he's supposedly, according to his opposition, not being diplomatic. He gets criticized from his opposition when they say he's being too diplomatic. He just can't do right. I think if Kim Jong-un showed up with all of his nuclear weapons, you'd still have his opposition say, well, how do you know that that's not everything? And then even if you had everyone say, well, that's everything in North Korea, that's all the nuclear weapons, they'd still be criticizing him, saying, well, how do you know? He's not going to make everybody happy. But the president is sitting down with a foreign leader. This is a first meeting between them, and he's trying to get that foreign leader to sign a document agreeing to complete denuclearization, something now inherited of generations in his own country. So I think the president has approached it well. He came across as very presidential, very prepared, and I think that as far as the verification goes, learning our lessons from the past, is that we should have United States inspectors, that we should be able to go wherever we need to, and you also could get a read in your counterpart, the ability to go anytime, anywhere you want, to be able to verify whatever you think you need to verify.
And the president did say today, I heard him say, that there will be Americans and international observers in North Korea for the verification process.
And that's better than what we see in Iran.
Congressman Lee Zeldin, thanks very much for joining us, sir. We always appreciate it.
Same
Thank
here.
you, sir.